is talk to me the type of movie that you should trust to go see in the theaters. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, I just saw Talk to Me in the theater, and wow, that was an interesting situation to say the least. An A24 film, you know how they usually roll. A lot of times it's more, thought provoking, kind of more psychological in nature. A lot of people have been comparing this movie to something more along the lines of Hereditary. And I must say, I do see some of the parallels, but this movie is really, really different to me. You have this character who is played by Sophia Wilde, who I think did a really, really good job in her role. And she's had a tragedy that happened to her mother, and she's going to hang out with some friends, and they are about to play a really, really crazy game. They have this embalmed hand that everyone has seen in the trailers. It's been all over the promotion of the movie, and it allows them to speak with spirits. And, with a movie like this, you kind of got an idea of how this might go. They're going to be speaking to spirits. Someone might get haunted by a spirit or so forth. But I got to admit, the movie took a lot of different turns. It really surprised me. It did some things that really surprised me. The thing that was interesting was the atmosphere that the film had from the beginning all the way to the end. Now, this is definitely a psychological horror film, a psychological thriller. This isn't a movie where you're going to have a bunch of gore, blood, guts flying all over the place like an Evil Dead Rise. But you did have some things that were very reminiscent of Evil Dead, of Hereditary, of The Shining. There was a lot of different things in this movie. You could tell that the directors, the Raka Raka guys, who, by the way, I mean, tipping the hat off to them for a really well made movie. This movie looked really good. It's an Australian film, so it also had a little bit of a different tone to it, a different vibe. You've got these young folks that are kind of bucking the system and just, they want to have their freedom, they want to hang out, they want to party with their friends and so forth. And I get that. I get that. I mean, I think we all, any of us that are grown up now, can look back to our teenage years and say, yeah, I was kind of like that too. Our lead character, she's 17, I believe, 17 or 18 years old. The opening of the movie was bonkers crazy. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything, but when things happened, it was very, it was out of rhythm in a really good way. Like, you didn't expect what was going to happen. And again, when I go to a movie and I don't know exactly beat for beat what I'm going to be seeing, I really appreciate that, because again, we're in a time where there are a lot of big name franchises that have been around for years, for decades, that are still making movies. Some of them are really good, some of them are just okay. But when you have movies that are original and you already, you don't know the premise already, I think that can be such a treasure, especially if you enjoy it. And this was a movie where I must say I enjoyed it. It's one of those movies I want to see again, because like I'm still absorbing it. I'm still kind of taking in everything that I saw. But it was, wow. The lead character of Mia made some decisions that were very, very questionable, but there is a reason for it. And I must say, the filmmakers, they really found a neat way to kind of, you're playing into some horror tropes, but you're figuring out ways to make them make sense as far as the story is concerned. And that's what they were able to do with Mia and the choices that she made. Because and you've seen this in the trailer, so this particular part isn't a spoiler, but when they hold onto the hand and they say talk to me, and they get to speak with the spirits and so forth, the other side, they can end the session by blowing out the candle. Well, there's more than one time that this happens. I'm not going to tell you how many, but let's just say that, they get a thrill out of it. Mia and her friends, they're at this party and they're getting thrills out of it. It almost seems like it's a drug, to be quite honest. That was one part of the movie I'm going to kind of go back when I get a chance to see it again and really pay attention to that, because in a way it almost seemed like they were addicts. They almost craved the fear that they went through. And that was the thing, is that once they speak to the spirits, they're the only ones that can see it. They're the only ones that can, be in contact with the spirit. So anyways, it was really, really cool the way they did this. There were no jump scares, no cheap jump scares. I was really happy to see that. Everything was, it was organic, and the dread that you felt, it wasn't just because of the fact that a ghost scared you, but it was almost the context of it. You see certain, these characters see certain things, or these characters say certain things, or they feel certain things. So that in and of itself was really, really scary, because it's more than just being possessed, it's more than just being haunted, right? So I think this film was really, really intelligent. You can see the parallels to stuff, like I said earlier, to something like Hereditary, because a lot of people are kind of comparing the two, but I do think this stands on its own, obviously, with a lead character dealing with a tragedy and the grief of that tragedy, and trying to find their way to a more healthy state. That was something that we saw as part of the themes in Hereditary. This movie has some of that, but it does things in a different way. It really, really does. It also had this one plot point, because Mia now only lives with her father, and he's very standoffish and so forth. But it had a little bit of this angle going on in the middle of the movie, where you thought there were some more things at play, and they kind of toyed with that a little bit. It was just very interesting. It kept my attention, so I was really impressed. This was a movie that, for me, it's up there. I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Insidious, The Red Door, which pains me to say, because I'm a big fan of the Insidious franchise. But I think that there were some issues with The Red Door where we didn't get enough of the dread that you thought you were going to get with the red-faced demon, right? In this movie, there was dread peppered throughout the film, and again, this isn't, always boom, boom, boom in your face, but what the characters are going through, it's some horrific stuff that they're going through. And there were moments when those things are happening, when, for me, I could see in the theater, there were people that were kind of turning their head away, and myself, I was kind of like, ooh. The ending of the film, without giving away the spoiler of it, but the ending was really powerful, really dark. And it made me sit back and say, oh man, wow. It was kind of a sad ending, but very dark. It was poetic in the sense of what the story had, and seeing it go from the beginning to the end, but very dark and scary. It's a scary thought. It really, really is. So I won't spoil that. And if you decide to go see this movie in the theater, please try to stay away from spoilers, because I think it's really, really cool to be able to experience this without knowing those things. This is that type of movie. But again, it's not all in your face, and people are getting killed right and left. There's not a lot of dead bodies and all that type of stuff. So when you go into it, just have an open mind. But I do think if you're the type of horror fan like I am, and you really want to see new stuff, original type of stuff that is smart and also great atmosphere and scares and stuff like that, this is a good movie. I really, really think it is. And I've said this on live streams many times before, but for a lot of us that are, in the horror community, wanting new movies and want Hollywood to kind of, step back a little bit on the sequels and the reboots and remakes all the time, this is the type of movie that you want to go and support and try to show the studios that, yes, we want more of these types of films. A24 films, I think they have kind of an up and down track record with their box office. A lot of them do get pretty good critical praise. This movie has a really great RT score. I think it's at 95%, and well deserved. Absolutely well deserved, in my opinion. But again, when we think about these original movies, like 2022 had a bunch of original movies, and this year, this is definitely a movie that stands out for me. So, anyways, if you get a chance, check out Talk to Me, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you've seen it, did you enjoy it? Was it the type of movie that you thought it was going to be? I thought that the marketing of the film and the trailer, I think, was pretty smart because it gave you a little bit, but it didn't give you too much. And that's what I like with movies. So anyways, let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. It helps to support the channel and I'd appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed to the Night Watch Zone, this is the time to do it. Please do it. We can continue talking about movies from the past, present, and of course the future. I'll talk to you guys later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.